Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to explain our format today, and then we'll have Jamie open our meeting in prayer, and then I'll introduce our speakers. So what's going on today? The first segment, we have 3 speakers on health and nutrition. After that, our Vice President, Josh Clark, will tell us about an event that by attending it and by inviting friends to that event, the results are that we have a ton of fun and excitement at the event. We learn at that event accurate research, data, information from our scientific advisory board. We learn how we can more effectively, more efficiently help way more people have better, healthier lives and enjoy more financial fitness. And we learn how to overcome challenges in life, in health and finances. Those are the 2 segments today. If you strictly want health and nutrition, that's the first 3 speakers. If you want to also hear about an event where you will have fun, excitement, adventure, learn about better financial well-being and increased ability to help more people, stay on for the second segment as well. Now we're going to open our meeting in prayer. Jamie Wilson is a brand new director from Grants Pass, Oregon, and he and his wife Carol just had a record month, 2nd consecutive month of director. And yeah, that's awesome. And Jamie, would you go ahead and open our meeting in prayer, please?
Well, so Lord, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for creating us. Thank you for the good food that's around us. Lord, thank you for NeoLife when there's not enough good food around us. And Lord, thank you for the opportunity to be reaching out and helping others with this gift to nourish our bodies in the way you designed them to work in the first place. Thank you for being close to us. In Jesus' precious name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Jamie. And our first speakers, Mark and Sylvia Amaral, are new directors in Louis Smith's team. They are some of the most inspirational people I have ever met. They have beautiful hearts. Sylvia is a registered nurse, has enjoyed phenomenal health with 100-mile bike rides and being an advanced level scuba diver. A medical procedure nearly killed her. She will tell how she found NeoLife and her amazing story. Mark directs a youth ranch ministry with horses that is faith-based and helps young people. In September, they did 2,000 points. In October, they did 3,000 points. In November, they qualified as director with 4,000. Please help me welcome this highly inspirational, beautiful couple, Mark and Sylvia Amaral.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Bob, you're amazing. Thank you. And we're just so appreciative of being here and honored to be here. And you are just way, way too kind. I love you, and I love your team. You're amazing. Thank you.
Yes. Bobby, we love you so much, and thank you for inviting us on here. We just appreciate the opportunity, and I have to give a shout out to Jesus for letting me get up this morning. It was extremely hard. Sometimes my brain is so swollen, and this is one of those days, and I could tell because right here I have a really deep groove with my neurological system. It's not, my brain isn't the same as it used to be. So if that's okay with you, I kind of wrote everything down so I don't mess up, because sometimes I can't stay up longer than about an hour, this is one of those days. It just goes up and down still. So forgive me for that in advance, but Bobby's right. I was what my friends call the picture of health. I was cycling centuries, which are 100-mile bike rides like Lance Armstrong style, boating, scuba diving, jogging on the treadmill, 3 miles in 30 minutes, horseback riding. I was very, very active. My husband, Mark, and I vacationed in Hawaii, March of 2017 for my 50th birthday because, you know, that show Hawaii 5-0. So we went to Hawaii 5-0 for my 50th birthday. We were snorkeling there. We hiked Diamond Head. We walked actually all the way from the hotel, which was like an extra, I don't know, it was 12 miles one way, I think. Dancing at luau's on this beautiful island. We were just loving life. And a few months later, I had my routine physical exam. I received a recommended vaccine booster. And a few days later, I became ill with a really bad cough, a squeaky voice, bed rest for most of the day. And I had flank and kidney pain that was so severe, weakness, dizziness, brain fog, which I kind of still have now. I'm getting over that. Urinary tract infection, body pain, and I was so tender to touch. Even the shower was painful on my back. I didn't know what was going on. My condition worsened. Despite 2 courses of antibiotics, I had a fever of 102 for almost 3 days, and when it finally broke, I collapsed. I had numbness, paralysis, my breathing rate went down to 4 breaths per minute. As you know, normal is like 16, 18, 20 breaths per minute. I was only at 4. And so Mark called 911. It was very scary. He almost started CPR on me. I was taken by ambulance and hospitalized almost 2 weeks. They did a multitude of tests, from MRIs, CAT scans, lumbar punctures, spinal tap, multiple labs were done, and they just couldn't find what was going on right away. So the neurologist told me not to be afraid, as I would probably be on life support, the ventilator, for maybe 3 days, but I would get better and stronger and recover, he said, because I was so healthy before this hit me. And I made it through because of everybody praying for me. It was just amazing how many people came around. And the doctors were baffled. They gave me a diagnosis of viral myopathy, periodic paralysis, functional neurological disorder, and unfortunately, that's what's kind of slowed up my care, I think, because that was formerly known in the past as hysteria and conversion disorder. And finally, December 2019, just last month, they figured out that it was a chronic inflammatory reaction to the Tdap vaccine. And my diagnosis now is myalgic encephalomyelitis, also called chronic fatigue syndrome. I think you've heard about it just in the public. It's a misnomer, though, when they call it chronic fatigue syndrome, because people denote that as being lazy and tired all the time, when in fact, there actually is brain damage and neurological effects from that. 7 months after I had the vaccine, because we didn't know what was going on, we were just trying to get better with nutrition and different things, but our wonderful friends, Joe and Linda Peacock, invited us to a healthy hour. I had no idea what that was, neither did Mark, so he said no 3 times, and Joe Peacock just kept persisting, and Linda said, please ask them again. And I felt so bad because they just kept asking us, and so even though I had no idea what this meeting was about, I told them I would go. So I was so desperate to get well, and in the meantime, I had still having a myriad of debilitating neurological symptoms and pain, the excruciating pain that's just unspeakable pain, preventing my ability to return to work. I couldn't drive. I could hardly do anything. But I got myself to that meeting. I don't know how I did it. I had been avidly studying nutrition and books and reading. Louis Smith's eloquent and vivacious presentation made the books I had been reading come to life. He was just there, and so I just got so excited. He really impressed me. And after his talk, Linda asked me to share my symptoms publicly with Louis, and I was kind of like surprised she would do that. It was a little embarrassing, but I described the horror of my symptoms in detail, and Louis asked me if I had a vaccine with them the previous year. I hadn't even told him that because I explained that I had told that to the doctors and they had denied this was a cause. So then I just forgot all about it, honestly. But he told me he had seen others with similar symptoms following vaccines, and this was my issue as well. I was so mortified to realize this after all that I had endured, that after that, all I heard was blah, 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 because I was so shocked. As a nurse, I was not familiar or educated on possible reactions that may occur as a result of vaccines. And that to me is astounding. Louis has helped save my life with his clinical holistic nutritionist consultant expertise. He told me it would take a couple of years to detox, and it is. And I was lucky to still be alive. Many people don't even make it through this. And actually, I've knocked on heaven's door 3 times and see the glorious majesty of our Creator, and the illuminating light of His glory is just, it's just so amazing, you guys. So, I mean, this is not a religious class or anything, but I'm telling you that when you're saved, it's not such a bad thing to die, because you close your eyes on earth and open them and see Jesus' face in heaven. But anyway, you know, He has me here for a purpose. So He gave me a vision, and it's been confirmed by many Bible-believing Christian friends of mine that my ailment is temporary. It will be temporary. It's just a bump in the road, and God will fulfill the vision He showed to me. I would be on stage speaking to hundreds, even thousands of people about my testimony and glorifying God and His miracles. I would receive my voice back, which I'm getting. It used to be a very annoying whisper and then little Minnie Mouse voice. And to proclaim a better life, share Jesus in health and NeoLife to many who are in the dark. I am grateful my testimony may encourage and assist many who have similar issues. And I have a regimen to detox and recover with the world's best organic, non-GMO, whole food nutrients producing pharmaceutical standards and quality control. NeoLife. Yes, many friends have also shared their health benefits after taking NeoLife, and Mark and I are on a mission now to help end the trend of poor wellness and poverty by paying it forward with this eye-opening information, because people just don't know. They're in the dark and they need us. They need help, and we have the answer. my progress is slow and many ups and downs. It's been 2.5 years now since I got the vaccine. But after 3 ER visits and many episodes of paralysis, which are really scary, I wouldn't wish this on anybody, I am hopeful that I will be one of the 5% that recover. There's only 5% that recover from this, if they even make it through. And instead of bed rest 90% of the day, even after 9 hours of sleep at night, I am now in bed just 75% of the day. So that is a real improvement. Thank you, Lord. And Mark, my nurse of the year, chef of the year, and Joe and Linda Peacock, Louie and Laverne Smith, Bergie and Joan Lehman, Josh Clark, all of you guys, everyone who has faithfully prayed for me, and of course, NeoLife, I love you so much. And I like to say, may God bless you beyond measure and fill your cup with blessings overflowing onto others. So thank you. Thank you for letting me share. All glory to God.
So that's kind of her story. What couple things that she kind of left out was, kind of like what a bad husband I was, because I say that kind of tongue in cheek, because when we had been invited to that healthy hour a number of times, I was like, no, don't want to go there. I was in the corporate world for 31 years, retired. I have no interest in going there. I don't know what it's about. And one of those network marketing things, I don't want any part of it. And so I said, if you want to go, go. And she did. And when she came back, she told me all about it and how she felt and the hope that was on her face and her eyes. And I thought, gosh, got to at least take a look at it. So I did. I took a look at it, and with the hope that she had and the promise that I saw in the product, then I said, we got to try this. And if it can help my wife, we got to do it. And if we're going to do it, we might as well, share it with others. I had no idea what network marketing was. But I said, we might as well go all the way and become promoters and try to share this with others as well. So that's kind of how our journey started into NeoLife. And it has been a tough, long road. And she's persevered. She's done amazing things, even from bed. So.
And Mark's small story, I guess he probably won't share, is just that he had a large prostate, and he got on the breakfast pack, and they double checked his prostate, and they said it's back to normal. I mean, it's just amazing, because who knows where they're so, serendipity. Praise God.
Bob, I think you asked us to talk a little bit about how we're building the business.
Yes, please.
Okay, and there's quite a few things. I would start with being just consistent, doing something on a daily basis, and that's ironic with our situation, especially with Sylvia's situation, because it's hard for her to do anything at all. But she's been consistent to the extent at all possible for her, laying in bed, on social media, texting and calling and setting up meetings. I tease her all the time. I said, "You're just laying in bed and you're making meetings, and I have to go out and talk to these people." That's what she does. She just gets them to come to the home meetings and to Louie's, healthy hours, and has gotten me a number of one-on-ones with people, and having people come over at the drop of a hat and to share with them and stuff. And that's what she's done. She's been consistent throughout the whole process. And it's just
when I can, because sometimes I'm just a sleepyhead. I have sleepy brain right now, is what I call it. You can tell just my eyes. It's hard to keep them open. And Amanda knows as a doctor, your brain just, if it's going to shut down, it just starts shutting down, and you have to go to sleep. So,
but that's just a testament to her drive on this though as well. And it motivates me to step up and help us share NeoLife with others. So consistency, doing something on a daily basis, I think is critical to be consistent, and improving, self-improvement is also another, really important thing.
I think self-improvement is huge, and that's what I've been focusing on, to be able to be a positive magnet to attract people to you, because if you repel them, they can feel that. I always use this analogy. It's kind of a silly one, but there can be a fly in the room flying around, and you're like, oh, that pesky fly, and you just kind of like keep shooing him away. But as soon as you grab the fly swatter, doesn't he disappear? So it feels that emotions, when people walk in the room, they can either light up the room or they just bring it down with an oppressive feeling. So you can do that. It's all about choosing your attitude, and it's all with self-improvement. These books that your upline recommends you to read. I mean, just really delve into that. It makes a difference.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm kind of saving the best, what I feel like is the best and most critical issue for last, Bob and team. But another one is having accountability partners and accountability processes. Things like what you're doing right here with the BOC and
awesome.
One-on-one meetings with your upline. And Josh Clark has a success team. And a number of you have been on the success team. I think those are huge, teaching you how to do, daily habits and the 3 daily habits and being consistent on that. So that's the things that we've done, Bob, for the last couple of years is just that, being consistent, getting on a success team. We're not currently on one right now, but we were, on the last few quarters. Yeah, we're on Louis. And now the big one is events. I think events is really key to keeping you plugged in and keeping you focused and motivated and in touch with what's going on. And not just the big company events are huge too, but small events like this one, BOCs and healthy hours even. All those types of events keep you plugged in. We've been consistent at going to events even when she couldn't go. It's a testament to her as well. But even when she couldn't go for the last year and a half, I went to pretty much every company event there was. And we always actually go, if she can't go, I go. We always go to our local healthy hour events too with our team, even if we don't have anybody there. If we're not having any guests there, we always go there to support them. Yeah. And, we just got back. Louis took a team to GoPro, and we just got back from that. And it was an amazing event. And this was a second event that my wife Sylvia had went to, because she had made it to convention last year. And at GoPro, Louis would have little meetings after the fact, after each session. And my wife's laying on the floor, you guys. She's laying on the floor because she can't sit up anymore. And I go, babe, you got to go lay down. She goes, no, I have to be here.
You have to be present, to catch that vision. And yeah, and I think she learned that convention, because I would go to the events and come home and explain to her I was all pumped up and kind of explain it and tell her what was going on. And it just didn't really catch with her, if you want to say, she didn't really catch the vision. You have to be there.
But when she went to convention, everything changed.
Rubbing shoulders with giants, you see the testimonies, you see it's real, you see these people cross stage, and it's like, up there, I could do this.
That's right. So I think that's just about it, Bob. Just really the events it's just critical.
We love you so much, you guys.
Well, we love you guys. We're so touched by your testimony. Yeah. On a 1 to 10, how important would you say it is to be at convention?
12.
She says 12. Yeah.
Okay.
It's critical.
And then we have a Wisdom Builders spring retreat. It's only 2 hours from us here in Eugene, the first weekend in April. If a person is serious about growth, impacting hundreds of people, helping them with the product and their finances, on a 1 to 10, how important would it be to be with Josh and Alan and Lawrence and Marjorie at that event? How important, and all their team?
Absolutely. I mean, that is amazing. If I could go, I would go for sure. I mean, those guys are such icons in this business. Right. Yeah, I wouldn't miss it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's,
even if you have to fly, I would go.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay, well then the last thing, Mark, you said something when Josh interviewed you. It was very impressive about Achiever Club points or PV number. Can you just share that with that?
I did. We kind of changed. I think it's all part of self-improvement, Bob. And I think we kind of changed our direction a few months back. Rather than, and I'll just, in a nutshell, rather than worrying about Achiever Club points and how many we had and whether or not we're in the top 10 or 15 or 20, we just let that go. And we started focusing on helping people, how we could be of service to them and how we could be servant leaders and how we could just be of service and let the chips fall where they may.
I mean, it's still a good goal to have, because it
absolutely
gives you carrots and cookies along the way, of course. So we don't discount that, but we're just saying when we focus on really the true thing about this is helping other people. Share your testimony. It's helping you. Why would you hide it? You know, I had a friend the other day say, well, I'm afraid to share it with my friend because he might think I'm just using him or wanting to go to coffee just to tell him about NeoLife. And I said, listen, tell him this. As my friend, if you knew this NeoLife product is helping so many people and you were embarrassed or ashamed to tell me, that's not being a good friend. You know, you should be able to share it with me if you love me enough. So if you need to tell them that, I don't know. It's just amazing how, yeah, the effects it can have on people. It's worth it.
Yes. Okay, well, like I said, you guys are some of the most inspirational people I know. You have beautiful hearts, and we thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Love you guys.
God bless you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker, Amanda and Tom Smith. Tom is an FBI agent. I'm really careful when I'm around him. And Sylvia has a doctorate in pharmacy and has been a pharmacist. I mean, Amanda, sorry. And Amanda has a doctorate in pharmacy and has been a pharmacist for 20 years. They're wonderful, fun, delightful, upbeat, motivating people. Their NeoLife business has grown rapidly. They are solid directors in Josh and Chelsea Clark's team. How many have heard of Josh and Chelsea? Anybody heard of that? Okay, so they're in Josh and Chelsea's team. I got to meet them actually at the very first event they ever went to. And please welcome a fun, intelligent, skilled director and pharmacist to share her expertise with us, Amanda Smith.
Thank you so much, Bob. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Bob, I just want to thank you for inviting me. I'm humbled and very grateful to be able to talk at your BOC. And I just want to tell you guys, you're extremely blessed to have such an incredible leader, such an incredible person. Bob is very much a wonderful, wonderful person. And Tom and I are extremely blessed and thankful to have met him and have him in our lives. And I just want to say to Sylvia and Mark, wow, I'm so thankful for you guys too. And Sylvia, you already have an incredible testimony. And I'm praying for that complete healing and know that God will even honor that. And I can't wait to see you on stage and with complete healing. So thank you for sharing. We greatly love you guys. So Bob, I'll just start talking a little bit and you can direct me and guide me in ways that you want me to go. But I'll just start off with sort of our story. As Bob said, I've been in retail pharmacy for 20 years. And so with that, lots of medicine and lots of different things along the way. I think I have always been interested in the root cause of problems and not just putting a Band-Aid on our problems, which is a little different than what it seems the medical community is about these days. But I think that's the heart of the matter. And I think as we advance in technology, it's easier sometimes to put Band-Aids on problems than it is to find the root cause. And so that's always kind of been a passion of mine. And I always knew how important nutrition was. And just little areas along the way God has placed I guess little nudgings in my path. I think one of the biggest things was, well, I'll start with how we were introduced to NeoLife. I guess my kids went to school with Josh and Chelsea's children. Two of our children ran track together, and I had seen Chelsea's big NeoLife vehicle. If any of you have seen that, it was pretty blatant, and was like, what is this about? I've never heard of this company. And so that was kind of in the back of my mind, and I heard her talking at one of the events and at one of the track meets. And so I just kind of went up to her and started talking to her, and we actually met in carpool one day, and she was like, this is kind of what it's about. We tried to meet and our schedules are super busy. I'm a blended family with 4 teenagers, and of course she has 6 kids. And so schedules are hectic, schedules are tight. I work full time. And so we ended up meeting in the car for about 10 minutes, and she gave me a couple of samples, I think a shake and tea. And she said, you know what, if you're really interested, you really want to know what this is about, the best way to see would be go to retreat. It's next month. and you'll really see what this business is about. You'll really see what this company is about, even if you're, not interested in the business. And so I wrote the date on my calendar, went home and talked to my husband about it, and he kind of will tell you he was on the automatic nod at the time, but I took that as a solid yes, and so we planned it. And some of you have kind of heard that story. We ended up going to retreat, almost didn't get there, but Satan was trying to prevent that for sure. But we ended up going to retreat, and all I can say is, wow. I mean, we were incredibly amazed. John Miller, one of the leaders of the Scientific Advisory Board, spoke, and just everything he talked about medically, I knew was sound information. There was research to back it up in very renowned clinical journals. And so his words really resonated with me, and I knew that what he was saying was spot on. And that was super important to me. Before we went on retreat, I'd researched the company a little bit on what I could find, and what I was finding was the medical information backing the company was very sound in the research. And so that's super important to me as a medical professional. But we walked away. Tom went with arms crossed, very, very skeptical just by nature. It's his by his job nature. He was a state trooper before he was an FBI agent. And so he is trained to kind of be super skeptical, if you will. And so he went in with arms crossed, and by the end of that weekend, we both were just amazed at the research behind the products. And I think one of the things, Bob, you asked what kind of sold us on NeoLife, definitely that they're sound products, but this incredible community that we have is by far the biggest blessing. And so we saw that in that weekend when we were saturated. We knew no one when we drove to North Carolina. We knew Chelsea just a little bit, had met Josh one time, but other than that, we were immersed amongst people that we had never met, and you were just kind of forced to get to know those people, and I'm so grateful that we did. So that's kind of what got us started, and we walked away from there. My first mission was one of our sons who is adopted from Russia, and he was diagnosed with ADHD. He also, among the years, I'd found he had some lead toxins. And what's really funny, I was thinking about it today, what a God thing, of one of these things of God just placing his hand in the midst of this along the way. Probably 10 years ago, I took him for some holistic testing, and he did test positive for lead and metal toxins. And at the time, just because of circumstances with the divorce and my son's father, I mean, he wasn't on board, but they wanted to do chelation therapy to remove those metal toxins. And if any of you know Dr. Arthur First, he was one of the creators of mineral chelation. And so how incredible that is, that he was one of how God brought that kind of full circle on how you detoxify the body. And chelation therapy was kind of something that we were considering back in the time, but chelation therapy has its dangers along with it. So that's a big risk. So we never ended up doing that, but I'm thankful now that we have the Beta Guard and other ways to detoxify our son. So we got him started hard and heavy on the products, because at the time my concern was he was on 3 different prescription medications, one being a stimulant, one being an antidepressant, and one being a medication for tics, because as you push stimulant medications, your body can experience verbal and physical tics. And as a pharmacist, I knew that once you get on antidepressants and stimulants, 9 times out of 10, you do not get off of those for the rest of your life. And so that was super concerning to me, that I had a 14-year-old that was already on 3 prescription medications. So it was my mission to try to give him the nutrition his body needed, which I knew that he wasn't getting fully, to what the incredible things that his body could do to heal itself. I wanted to see what that was. And so I'm happy to report today. Well, I got him started hard and heavy on the breakfast pack and several products automatically. And within 2 weeks, I don't recommend this, but I weaned him off his antidepressant. And so we've been in NeoLife a year. Well, November was a year. And so 6 months ago, he's completely prescription free. I started weaning down his other medications. And so that is a testimony amongst people. And I cannot tell you, we are super happy. His personality, we have our son back because those medications, as you know, you're putting a chemical in your body anytime. And modern medicine is important. It has its place for sure. But anytime you put a medication in your body, you're putting a chemical into your body. And so his personality had been altered by an antidepressant and a stimulant. And so we have our son back. So we're super, super, super grateful for that. He just turned 16 yesterday. So he's still a 16-year-old boy by all means, but we are super thankful. I'll just tell you a little bit about, Bob, tell me who you want me to talk about. My father has had incredible.
Yeah, by all means, tell us about him.
Okay. So my father's a baby of 16 children, and his family is rampant with heart attack and stroke. In fact, he is the baby, and he and one brother are the only ones left, and they've all been hit with heart disease and stroke were pretty much the causes of death. Some of them pretty young age. And so that was a super big concern of mine, and I tried to help him out in his health. But he had ended up being on like 12 different prescription medications. And so when I learned about this NeoLife, I also was like, Dad, I really need to get you on this. I think your body can do more for itself than it's doing, and I want to get you off some prescriptions. And so at the time he started, he had already had blood work done in September. He started NeoLife last December. He had blood work again in January, and he was already on a statin medication. His total cholesterol came down. His triglycerides came down from 214 to 123, and his HDL went up, his LDL went down. I have those numbers I can share with you guys at some point. And after being on the products for a year now, his numbers have continued to decrease, and he's off many, many medications. So that was a true testament to what your body can do when you give it the proper nutrition. And these supplements are so whole food concentrates that just help your body work in the most optimal form. So I myself have some stories. I won't take all the time to tell you that. I'll just tell you one of them. So I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome in my 20s and was put on a product, and that can lead to, well, it has insulin resistance with it, which can lead to increased blood sugars and eventually diabetes. But basically, they put me on a product called glucophage or metformin, which is a common diabetic medication, or known as a diabetic medication for insulin resistance. So I'd been on that for 20 years. And when I started taking NeoLife and learned about glucose balance, I was like, I'm going to start taking that. And so I did, and weaned myself off of the metformin, had blood work. 3 months later, just at a normal visit follow-up, and my physician wouldn't even prescribe metformin for me anymore because my levels were incredible. My A1C was 4.7, I think.
Awesome.
And so I was able to get off of that as well. So, and I wanted to tell you this, as I have I've had reflux problems and esophageal spasms really bad in the past, so much so that they've had to stretch my esophagus through a procedure 2 times now. But the aloe vera drink, those of you who have not experienced that or used it, if you know anybody who has any GI or reflux, that is a game changer. I started drinking that daily, and it has been incredible.
Well,
So.
wonderful, wonderful.
Good.
Wow.
Okay, well, any other things with your dad or yourself or any customers that have impressed you?
I'm trying to think. I know, so my husband, Tom, suffered from, and he can tell the story better than I can, but like a tennis elbow, tendonitis, and plantar fasciitis in his foot. He would, every single night, he would do all the exercises they recommended with the hard ball on his foot. He had tried ibuprofen, which he does not like to take gladly. I'm glad he doesn't like to take that a lot, but he'd do that if he had to. But just excruciating pain, so much that at night it would ache. And he shoots a lot for training, and so that's where he developed the elbow tendonitis, and then the plantar fasciitis. He started taking extra salmon oil and full motion, and I think within 6 weeks he was pain free. I know within a couple of months, and so he is will tell you all about full motion and extra salmon oil for sure.
Fantastic. Yeah. You know, maybe we should close with this, you guys. Let's give her a hand. She's a doctorate. A doctorate in pharmacy. And isn't it exciting, you guys, to hear her stories and getting family members off medication?
Amen.
And, you know, Amanda, I don't know if you remember, I think the first time we met, we were walking into the chapel in North Carolina with you and your hubby. And so you were talking about, you didn't know hardly anyone in that whole group. And you said the community was so impressive. And then you flew out here to Bend last year for the Wisdom Builders, you and your hubby. And I'll ask you the same question I asked Mark and Sylvia. How important, why would someone want to go to a weekend event? Because it's the first weekend in April, right in Bend, which is like 2 hours from here. Why would someone want to go? How important is it to go to those?
Bob, I cannot emphasize enough how important these events are. As you heard my testimony, I don't know if I would be sitting here talking to you today had I not gone to that first retreat. And I would like to think I would. I'd like to think somebody would have introduced us and we would be sitting here. But Tom and I are on the same page. We are so grateful. We have planned this whole last year. We planned every single vacation. We still both work full time. So we planned every single vacation time we had around NeoLife events. And to some that sounds crazy, but we love this community and we want to spend our time. We want our children to be around these people. And so I have to tell you that events are extremely, extremely important. I would not miss anything if I can help it. That's my goal. We actually sat down 2 nights ago and bought our plane tickets to Bend. We will be there again. We don't because I'm like, well, I've got to figure out how I'm going to get the time off. But I have the reservations. I just got to figure out how to get the time off. And our mindset is that we will not miss events if there's anything that we can do in our power. And I'm telling you, if you can get to these events, it's a game changer for your mindset, for your vision, for you to hear and see the people that are being helped. And that's our passion, is to love on people and to help people. And just, you know, it starts with you and your family. But when you love people, you can't help but to share it. I can't tell you how many times different products have come across my path and over the years, and things that I've tried and things that I've used, but I've never felt compelled. I'm not a seller and I refuse to sell anything, but with NeoLife, it's sharing what this has done for me, what it's done for my family. And when you love somebody, you can't help but to share it. And so these events are incredible. The testimonies that you hear and the visions that you'll gain and just the people that you get to be around is so worth it.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. You know, it's interesting. You said the same thing Mark and Sylvia said. You said it's sharing, and you know, how can you not? So that's impressive. The same take. And you know, I'm not a very social person really, but Brent Chichester's on this call. I see him up there. He just had a record month last month, over 2,000, well over 2,000. And I talk with his sister frequently about how much we enjoy those events. Because, you know, the people, you said it, the quality of the people are phenomenal, right? Just phenomenal. Okay, well, thank you again, Amanda. Thank you so much. Okay, our next speaker is an absolute powerhouse, gifted, dynamic, capable shaker and mover leader. Right there.
Oh.
Is Steffi. She has used NeoLife for 30 to 40 years. So she was only 4 when she started. She generates substantial volume. She's a world team member. She will now tell you how our products helped her overcome very serious health problems. and why she believes in our products. Please welcome Sapphire Director Stephanie Beckett.
Yay!
Steph, why don't you sit right here? It's a little bit closer. The camera's right there if you want to look into it. That's okay.
Well, hello, everybody. It's good to see so many people whose lives have been changed, which is fantastic. And I really enjoyed the testimonies. But this morning, Bobby asked me to share a little bit about my testimony, and it's really neat because what God has done in my life through the NeoLife product. When I was 19, I woke up and I had lost the sight of my left eye. I woke up from a camping trip and I couldn't see out of the left eye. My dad, being an optometrist before he was a jeweler, he absolutely took me to the very best people that there was. And all of a sudden my body started getting numb, and I went through over a year of testing in and out, and what they ended up telling me at OSHU was that I had multiple sclerosis. So I spent inside of between physical therapists and every kind of thing. Instead of going uphill, I was going downhill because I was on cortisone and I'd say uppers, downers, cortisone, this drug, that drug. And I kept telling the doctors, please tell me how to get rid of this nutritionally, and they wouldn't answer me. So about 1 year into it, I rebelled, and I called my dad up to come up to Portland. It was about a 2.5-hour drive to OSHU. I said, Dad, I'm throwing out the drugs and moving to Hawaii because I heard that Hawaii had better nutrition and I could get well. And I had a small inheritance, so I moved to Hawaii. And during that time, I began to change my diet and do some things for MS. And still not great results, but enough that I could see a difference. And when I moved back to Oregon, I was kitty corner to the Pearson family, and they turned me on to the protein drink. That was immediate difference for my MS, was Formula 4 and the protein drink. The protein, because people with multiple sclerosis can't digest protein very well. And so between that season, I ended up coming to Christ in Maui, Hawaii, which was huge. And the Lord began to direct me. And I would say that NeoLife, God used NeoLife to save my life and to get me drug-free, you know, none of the medicines from the doctors. Thank goodness. And so here I am, almost 50 years later. Hallelujah. And I probably never, ever forget a day of the shake and the Formula 4. And my friends that, when none of us were saved when we were in Hawaii, they said, Steffi, we noticed that, you know, you used to slur in your speech and drool a little bit, and my neck would go out. And here I am years later, and I feel healthier than I did when I was 19 years old. Wow.
He's hard to keep up with.
Steph does a great job, you guys. She helps lots of people all over the country, really, not just here in Eugene, but all over. She does a wonderful job. Let's give her a hand. And Amanda mentioned Dr. First. Steffi got a phone call from Dr. First at your house, correct?
Yes, he did. And he talked to me for about 40 minutes. I had a question. I wished I had been a little bit thought through it a little bit more, but he was a phenomenal genius in the field of nutrition that started the Scientific Advisory Board. And sometimes I think we forget where our foundation is. And this man was fellowed in, wasn't it 3 scientists?
Yeah, it may have even been 4 or 5. Maybe.
Yeah, and a genius in the field of cancer prevention. He was one of the first guys that began to say diet had an influence on whether or not you got cancer. So our Scientific Advisory Board, though I don't know them all, I'd say it's fabulous. Mm-hmm. And Dr. First really helped our company.
Definitely. And Steph, why don't you close with just any testimony of any of your customers or anything about the company that you're most impressed with, why you believe in them and trust them? Just anything?
Well, I'd have to say recently, I've had tons of testimonies after this many years. I used to not do the business. I would just boss people over here. I'd say, go over, talk to Bob. I tell them a testimony, something that happened to me, and I say, you need this, this, and this. Well, all of a sudden I got with it and thought, you know what, I need to make a little bit off of this business. And I began to, my first order, I ordered $2,500 worth of product, sold it within 2 weeks because people would come through my home and buy this, that, and the other thing. And so I opened up with the first month with 4,000 PV, and I've never turned around since then. So it's helped a lot of people. And I'd say recently what I think one of the biggest ones is I had a grandson that I felt had some needs. Highly sensitive. I don't know if you've heard of children with sensory issues, that it's hard for them to be around crowds of people. He was dramatic and hard for the two parents. So I flew back to Hawaii about 10 times, and I supplemented him highly with salmon oil. The children's Liquivite and the salmon oil. Every time I turned around, I was taking, a case of salmon oil that direction. But what's exciting now, he just turned 5, and now they call him Smarty Smith. He's extremely social, and out of all my grandchildren, I think he's the sharpest. But he started out being a real frustration to the family because he was dramatic about everything, crying a lot, high maintenance child. And my daughter had all these easy going and ended up with this one, and I don't think they knew what to do with him. So nanny kicked in. And so I think grandmas really have a lot of influence on their grandchildren. I really believe that. I believe that you can stand back and say, well, let them do it. But I know that young families have lots of needs financially and other ways. So the ways that we can kick in is spiritually with the Lord and physically with NeoLife.
Very
Help.
good. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Steph. She is a shaker and a mover, a great leader. She makes a huge contribution. And so we're grateful for Steph, that's for sure. I love mixing shakes for her here, right?
Yes.
And Josh, are you on?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here, Bob.
We can't see you. Oh, so we got to go over there. Okay, so let me introduce you. See if we can get you up on the screen here. There you are. Okay, so our beloved vice president, author, architect, or quarterback of our team's comeback.
Yes.
He is a gift from God. He's a brilliant, courageous man of faith, a man of action, a friend to Hanson's and I of around 20 to 25 years. Welcome with love and admiration, our coach, mentor, man we highly admire and esteem, the Vice President of Sales, North America, Mr. Josh Clark.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Pearson team. Thank you all for having me today. Wow, I sure have enjoyed what's already led up to this. This has been amazing. In fact, if anything, I don't want to spoil anything. This has been incredible. What a great team, Bob. You have everybody assembled. I see a bunch of beautiful smiley faces that I know, and then I see even more here, guests on the Zoom, and it's incredible to see an international team gathered this morning. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So first of all, well, Happy New Year. I hope you all had a wonderful holidays. And it's a privilege again to be here today. So first thing I got to say is I love the stories I heard. I heard your guest, Dr. Smith, and Steffi. Thank you for coming back on board to build the business. I know that you don't. Yeah, let's give her a round of applause. Let me explain what I mean in a second, but let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. But you know what? I think, Steffi, the story of you coming back to go for another round is exemplary of what we are so proves and illustrates what we're so blessed to all be a part of. And I know that Chelsea and I feel that way, and I know that each and every one of you do, that this is not just another company. It's not just another business. It's not just another endeavor. Steffi, thank you for coming back because the need is huge. bigger than it's ever been for what we're doing. And you are not only impacting lives, but building a legacy as you're developing leaders, helping us all develop the next generation of leaders that will continue to carry this forward. And when I see people such as yourself who don't have to build this business, you don't have to build it to pay your bills, but you're doing it, and there's nothing wrong with doing it for that reason, because working is a very honorable thing, we all agree. But those who are also doing it just simply to help us further our mission and to continue to build a legacy that will impact generations to come. So Steffi, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know I specifically asked you, would you please do that? And I thank you so much for praying about it and deciding to go another round. And you know what, I say that to you, but I also thank each and every one of you who are committed to 2020, to going another round, another year, and building upon the incredible success that this entire organization is having. Bob, I know that this was not part of what you asked me to talk on, but I do want to, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize this whole organization just had an incredible year of growth. And I'll tell you something, I'm not only thanking you all publicly, but I shared the results of y'all's growth with the entire international executive team. And Jerry Brassfield was sitting there, and Kendra Brassfield, and talked about how the Pearson organization is rising to new heights, and in fact had their best year as far back as I can see. And so in the modern era, which goes back a long ways, you guys are just crushing it, killing it. So thank you so much. And I think as great as 2019 was, this is just the beginning. So give yourself a round of applause. Thank you. Speaking of the products, y'all, I know, again, I wasn't asked specifically to speak on products because there's others who are experts in the products. My real passion is helping to support, encourage, develop, lead promoters and help them bring out their very best, so that in turn we can go out there and end the trend of chronic disease. And by succeeding as businesswomen, as businessmen, and we need a lot more of that, a lot more leaders emerging, developing, so that we can get the science out, get the knowledge out on these amazing products. The knowledge, the science is already there. We just got to get out there and recruit more promoters to help us spread it. But of course, while that's my passion and my focus, I get as excited as anyone else does about stories of the products working. And I've got my latest story. So Bob, may I share my latest story?
Please do. Please do.
Well, that full motion product, I heard Dr. Smith, I think, mention that earlier. Man, that product's amazing. And I've always known that and believed that. But I guess at times, I didn't, I take a whole bowl full, like my parents of NeoLife. I always joke, just add a little milk to it and you got your cereal, right? But I haven't always taken the full motion. It just depended upon whether, what I was training for or, competing with. If I was doing triathlons in the past, I was taking it. But, I felt like I was young and youthful, I guess. So I didn't have to take it every day, every year. But anyway, I was having some trouble with my shoulder, and I was taking lots of omega-3. And I was thinking, I watched someone else have surgery, and I was like, I think I tore the rotator cuff, and I'm taking time away, and it's not healing. And I was like, man, I was just dreading it. I was thinking, I think I might have surgery on this. Well, I got on the full motion, and man, that stuff is unbelievable. So anyway, I'm back to lifting and not having to baby the right shoulder. So anyway, I'm grateful for that. I need all the help I can get with 6 kids that are getting better at sports every year. And I just don't, I don't want to get beaten all the time. So that's good. Anyway, back to some of the things that we were going to talk about. I do want to say congrats to our new, soon-to-be new world team member, John and Debbie. Congrats to you guys. 2nd month of Sapphire. That's exciting. And I know the 3rd month is coming. So great job. And then our brand new director last month, 2nd month director, 3rd month will be coming up. I know this month we'll have a brand new Emerald director, Jamie and Carol. So that's amazing. And then the way they led Achievers Club, That's unbelievable. I mean, I don't know if you were listening on the leadership calls, but I normally don't comment on each person in the top 20 leaderboard. But how do you not comment on number 2 being a brand new director? So I think that deserves a huge round of applause. I mean, that's how we're going to end the trend. I mean, that's how we're going to end the trend. New club members, new promoters, and get serious about developing them. So over the next couple minutes, I'd like to just talk about setting some goals for the new year and, talk events and how events are going to lead to us ending the trend this year. So speaking of goals, Bob, I want to applaud you for setting a goal with your team and with your leaders to get 100 people to convention. And, Bob, I just want to thank you because I know each and every leader in the room understands the courage, the fear that comes with setting a big goal. I'm assuming everyone does because I can tell you, I know I do. It's scary, Are you going to be mocked? Are you going to be made fun of? Are you going to fall flat on your face and make an absolute idiot of yourself? Will you lose all respect because you dared to do something too great? But in reality, I think with the need as we head into 2020 being bigger than ever, and I don't want to bore anybody with any of the detail, any of the stats I've already shared, but I will quickly. I mean, you heard me probably talk on one of the conference calls recently about USA Today front page cover talking about the real harsh reality of health in America today. And it right here it says, and you can't really see it on the screen, but I'm going to read it. This is speaking on the harsh reality that U.S. life expectancy is declining year after year, a dismal trend not seen since World War I. And it says that hypertension is up 78% and deaths linked to obesity by 114%. I mean, things that we can very easily control with the solutions that you and I have are absolutely out of control. And then we saw that just this past year in 2019, we saw that what we aren't eating is killing us. And we saw the solution they said was pro-vitality. Now, I said they said it. They said it because they pointed out the products, the ingredients, that are in our product, pro-vitality, whole grains, fruits and vegetables, fish, and they talked about nuts and seeds in our NeoLife bar. I thought that was pretty cool for them to endorse our product, didn't you? I applaud them for that. But I feel like that all these statistics, sad, heartbreaking statistics, are going to continue if bold people don't step up. Common, ordinary, everyday Americans and Canadians don't step up and say there's a major problem. It's my civic responsibility to do something with it because I happen to know what needs to be done. Dr. Smith shared that with us earlier. We're hearing it over and over. What are we going to do? Well, I mean, I think that I don't know how we don't respond as Steffi did and say, you know what, I'm going to step up, not because I have to, but because I choose to. And so that's what I want to talk about is what are your goals for 2020? Are they bigger than you? Do they scare you? Are they a goal like Bob set to have 100 people? Bob, how many people did y'all have at convention last year?
40. And that was a record for the last 10 years for us.
Yeah.
So a record for the past decade. How many of y'all think it's actually possible that if everybody goes out there and just brings 2 people with them, that the math says 2 extra people, just 2 extra people, we've got 7 months to go. How many people think we can reach the goal of having more than 100 people? So is that possible? It's entirely possible. I do think it's going to take faith. I do think it's going to take faith mixed with activity, action to do that. So I want to share something with you before I end by sharing a few reasons why. I just want to remind us why I think convention, rally and convention is so important. I want to share something with you that I heard for the first time the other day. I say the first time, I heard it in a new way, a different way, in a way I'd never heard it before. I was listening to an interview with the guy, the only person who has ever run 50 Ironmans in 50 states in 50 days. Okay? Now, to put that in perspective, an Ironman is quite impressive, just a single Ironman. It's a 112-mile bike ride. It's a 26.1 mile running 26.1 miles. And swimming, I believe it's 2.5 miles, or just very close to that. I think it's 2.5. Now, that's amazing, okay? Now, I think with NeoLife that any of, we could do that. We could do that. But 50 in 50 days in 50 states, I don't even understand how that's possible. And in fact, people thought it was so crazy they would not support the guy, even though he'd already done some amazing feats in his life. They said, we don't want to look like an idiot getting behind somebody to do something that we don't even think logistically is possible. And it was so incredible. I mean, in fact, the guy fell asleep riding his bike and wrecked. Okay, so I mean, stuff like that was just common, ordinary over this 50 days because it was so nearly impossible. But he believes that human beings that are created in God's image, that we're not even getting close to what our capabilities are, that we're limiting ourselves because of age, because of education, because of experience, because of, how we grew up or where we live, that we're constantly, we're putting ourselves in boxes and defining what's possible. And he thinks we need to redefine, what's possible for us and think bigger than ever. But he said that we need, and this is what hit me. Are you ready? He said that we need not one why, but a bag of whys. Now, I'm always talking about what's your big why? What's your why? What's going to motivate you to go out and do something crazy, big, be bigger than yourself? And yes, I think there's always that big why, but I love what he said, a bag of whys. He said, because some days you wake up and everything in you tells you can't do what others think is impossible, what you yourself just last year thought was impossible, to get 100 people to convention, to step up, to develop 3 new leaders in your organization. So he said his bag of whys was, one of them was his daughter said, Daddy, I'll be waiting for you at 7 o'clock. I'm going to be standing at the finish line at 7 p.m. looking for you. He said every day that would drive him. But he said, while that was his biggest why, some days it wasn't enough. I mean, when you've had 6 hours of sleep, 4 or 6 hours of sleep in 3-4 days, maybe you need something else as well. He said his wife, his kids, the people who are following him on social media, the nonprofit that he was supporting through all of this, motivating, inspiring other people. He had to have a whole bunch of whys. And it just reminded me that you and I need to have a bag of whys too. Write them down, envision them, hang them on their wall. Maybe you need a silly why like me. It's not my biggest why, but I even got a picture of an airplane because since I was a little boy, I dreamed of having my own plane and flying a little plane and the whole country being like my backyard, and the idea of just flying a plane has always been a dream of mine. I decided, you know what? It's not my biggest dream, but some days just looking at that might be the motivation that I need to go the extra mile, to push past the envelope of what I think is possible. So anyway, a bag of whys. Get your bag of whys. All right. Is that a deal? Can we do that? Identify that bag of whys. All right. And then I want to talk about why rally, why convention. And I want to tell you that I know that I was slow to really catch on to why events were absolutely essential to building a movement like we're building. Nobody can force us to go to work every day. You're independent promoter. You can't force your promoters. Your upline can't force you. We are going to have to identify some necessary disciplines, I believe, and I'll tell you why, like attending events and doing everything you can to lead by example and inspire other people in your team to go to events. And so I want to just kind of brush up together by going over a few reasons why that is absolutely paramount to us going out there and becoming, I believe NeoLife will become the #1 direct selling company in the entire industry. And I believe we'll become the #1 seller of nutritional products in the world. I really believe that's possible. And by the way, yeah, together. By the way, Amway is the #1 seller of vitamins in the world. Now, they're the #1 network marketing company in the world. Okay, so just so you know, you might think, well, I don't even see how that's possible. Isn't these vitamin stores the #1 sellers? No, they're not. Network marketing will be the vehicle that will do that. And unfortunately, we have, it's paramount that we rise up as a company, as promoters, to take that place, because we have the solution the world desperately needs. We're not trying to sell everything from jeans to nutritional products to toilet paper and paper towels. And we're not saying buy from me because I'm your friend. There's nothing wrong. I'm not putting down any other company, but we are saying buy from me because I have solutions to problems that this community, our community, desperately needs. And so we will rise to the occasion. Amen?
Yeah.
Yes? So events are going to be crucial. #1, let's look at why. I believe, first of all, you've got to get your people to the events, because our numbers, our statistics, our data unequivocally proves that those who go to rallies and conventions are much more likely to succeed than others at the same point, at the same place in their business. Okay, they can be same volume, same level, same time in the business. One goes, one doesn't. We got enough data to compare. We've seen that those who go have much greater success. #2, if that is true, we must lead by example, even when it hurts, even when it's so painful, because we have to say no to a vacation. We got to sleep in our car. We have to sleep like Louis did in his bathtub. He said that's not a good idea, by the way. He said, don't sleep in the bathtub, sleep anywhere else in the hotel room. He said, when people come in the bathroom to use the bathroom at night, even when the shower curtain's shut and you're in the bathtub, he said he did not think about that one. He said that was a bad idea. But anyway, he said it wakes you up, and it's just not, it's nothing he wanted to repeat. But do whatever it takes. Lead by example. Okay, #3, and I'm going to zero in on this, is belief. It's critical to your success. Belief in 3 main areas: belief in the products, belief in the business opportunity, and belief in yourself. And you know what? Every time you go to an event, your belief just rises higher. And I want to talk for a moment that, in fact, in the Breakfast, Lunch, Dinner of Champions guide, the NeoLife news for Breakfast of Champions, the story this month for personal development was a story of a runner who believed. And that was Roger Bannister, who broke the 4-minute mile. And you've probably heard me talk about it. He's such an inspiration to me. He lost in the Olympics. He didn't place in the medals. And while he couldn't go back and redo that, he decided to, rather than get depressed, he decided to turn that disappointment into let it strengthen his resolve to win and to become the first person to break the 4-minute mile. And it took him several years. He had loss after loss after loss, but he never gave up. He put people around him that would challenge him, that would run with him, that would push him. And together it finally happened on May 6, 1954. He succeeded, right? He became the first person. Now, he died last year at a ripe old age, but he'll forever be remembered in history. But no one said it was possible. That's why no one had done it. No one believed it was possible. Medical community, no one believed it was possible. So we've got to first believe that reaching 100 is possible. Even if others laugh about it, that the Bob Pearson organization, that means everybody, all the teams within that organization together, we can do that. We can. But we've got to do it as a team, right? And so, but I think belief, not just for Roger Bannister, but belief for us is going to continue to grow at events. So the next thing is enthusiasm. We've got to recharge our batteries. We're just like a battery. It's going to wear down. It will wear down. We are human beings. We have emotions. We have ups, we have downs. And it's when we get together that, I don't think God's designed any of us to operate in a silo by ourselves. And it's true for me in my spiritual life. It's also true for me in my business, personal development life, every area. And I think part of those first of four we talked about is stories. And if you wanted to just take this one away with you, just getting people to convention for the stories that they can go on and tell. You might say, I got enough belief, Josh. I don't buy that I have to go to convention. I've got enough enthusiasm. Okay, but guess what? You can never have enough stories. I could argue with you on the others, and we'd have to agree to disagree. But the stories part, you can't even begin to argue, and I can win that argument in 30 seconds, I think. The more stories we have, the more we can relate with other people and reach them and touch them. And the more recent those stories are, the more relevant they are to other people, right? I mean, I tell stories from decades ago, but even having some fresh new stories, that's so important. And then friendships. We know how important friendships are. My friendship with each and every one of you, I'm going to pick on Bob for a minute, but my friendship with Bob has meant the world to me since I was a teenager. Him picking me up in South Africa, me and Chelsea, and saying, I'm going to introduce you to my friends here. We're going to stay at their home. I mean, who knows if I'd still be here if it weren't for Bob and others and this family doing things like that. Because I had some real highs and some real lows. And Bob, that meant a lot to me, so thank you. Knowledge and training, you know that. I'm not going to spend much time on that. But I'm going to say one of the biggest things is leverage. When you can leverage an event, if you guys can have record-setting attendance for each and every one of you. Now, some of you, not of you, but some in your organization are going to have to go by themselves. And it starts with you. If you don't have anybody going, you got to go yourself. You got to lead by example, or else you should never expect anyone to follow in your footsteps. I mean, Dad always told me that. He's like, if you're not willing to go beyond what you ask other people to do, then you have no business asking it of them. He'd say, if you're not willing to scrub the toilets, you have no business in any other position in any company, church, ministry, anything. And so I really believe that, and I think each and every one of you do. In fact, I'm confident you do. Your servant leaders, that defines this entire organization. But that also comes down to going to events. You got to lead by example. You cannot teach what you don't know. You can't lead where you won't go. You should not ask of others what you won't do yourself. And so leverage, getting people to an event. If you can get 10 people to an event, you're going to get more training at that one event, at one weekend, than you'll get all year long. You'll have more belief, more confidence built. We see it all the time. That's why Jerry says that leaders are born at events, right? So we've got people wake up, they come alive, they see a bigger vision. All of a sudden they see someone on stage and say, if they can do it, I can do it. So think about the compound effect that will take place when that happens. So cash prizes, of course, that's great. But really, finally, and lastly, number 10, you become unstoppable. There is nothing that can get in your way when you and your team make it to these events like Rally and Convention. So I want to see each and every one of you become unstoppable. I think that our country, our continent, North America, needs us to rise up like they've never seen it before. And I don't think it's just to solve health problems, okay, and prevent future health crises. I think that's huge, and that's the bedrock, and that's the foundation that we're built upon, delivering unique products into the marketplace that fill real needs. But you know what, y'all, in closing, I think it's just as important what happens within this community as we build an organization to tackle these problems. I really believe that, because me being a part of this NeoLife family, it's helped me be a better father, growing up in this business as a teenager. It's helped me prepare me to be a better husband. It's equipped me to be in ministry. I've been blessed to get to be a part of some really exciting things in ministry. And I'll be honest, I could never have done those things if it weren't the equipping that took place to this business. I'll never forget, in my file, there's an email from a lady in Memphis, Tennessee, who said, Josh, it was through this business that equipped me for full-time ministry. Thank you so much for your role in that. Okay, so I believe that depression and suicide will be drastically lowered just by what we're doing. as a community. You know, there's something called logotherapy. You probably heard me talk about, and there's 3 tenets to that. And one of them is being involved, having a purpose that's greater than yourself to be involved in. Viktor Frankl turned suicide around. It's an amazing story. He survived the Holocaust. He discovered these 3 things that I learned about in the scriptures. But I love the logotherapy, which is, you know, a secular philosophy that's grounded again in scriptures, but being involved in a cause and a purpose greater than you. Number 2, having a redemptive perspective on suffering. Your challenges in 2019 have prepared you more than ever to go do bigger, better things. Your failures, wherever you fell flat on your face, wherever you embarrassed yourself, and you're like, I don't ever want to repeat that. It has prepared you to go out there and identify with other people, relate with them in their challenges, even if they're different than yours, and inspire them that, come on, let's get back up, let's go out and do it. Okay, so number 1 is a purpose greater than you. Number 2 is a redemptive perspective on your challenges, on your suffering. And number 3 is developing deep and personal relationships while involved in a cause and a purpose greater than you. You know, that is what we're doing. That is what we're doing. It's going to lead to greater happiness, greater fulfillment, and guess what? Greater success as well. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a great lifestyle while you go out there and inspire and help so many others on to greatness in their health and in their personal life and in every area. Y'all, I am so blessed to be involved with you guys in this mission. Bob, thanks for having me. I love you guys so much. I do. And I thank you for going another year. I thank you for believing in yourself, believing in each person to your right and left. In fact, when you turn to your right and turn to your left and tell that person, I believe in you. We can do it. We can do it. Thank you, Bob. I can't wait to see you all I hope at Rally, at the retreat. You know what? I know that some can't make it to Rally, but they're going to retreat. And I'll tell you, that's going to be an amazing event. I know I didn't speak about retreat, but we're so blessed, Bob, to have you and your team a part of the Wisdom Builder retreats. Y'all, even if you didn't add so much, you'd still be invited. But let's be honest and be real. You guys have added so much to our retreats. And so I thank you. That was not our reason for asking you to be a part of it. It's because we're a family and we love you guys, but you guys add a ton to it. And I'm so thankful to hear from you, Bob, that it's a blessing to your team as well. But we can't wait to all be together in Bend, Oregon, to have another record-setting event, and 3 days that I think will change my life, your life, and your guest life. And I'm so, you know, it all started with, I don't know if she told you as I got on as she was talking, but Dr. Smith came to an event before she had even joined. It was a retreat. So if that's the event that you guys are able to get everybody to, get there, be there, even if they're a guest. We bought, sometimes we'll buy a ticket for somebody if they can't make it, that's even a guest, say, just come. If you'll just be there and be all at least attentive and attend, we'd like you to come. Now, we can't do very much of that because, you know, you can't do that for everyone. But you know what? Think about who you need to do that for and get them there. But I'm so glad Dr. Smith is a part of the NeoLife family, aren't you? I'm glad she went as a guest to that event. So thank you, Bob. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Thank you so much. Give him a big hand. Okay, guys, we're going to switch gears. Thank you so much, Josh. And if you guys want to spend 3 days with Josh and his beautiful wife, Chelsea, and his parents, who were #1 president's team last year, you get to spend 3 days with his parents, with Josh and Chelsea, and with Alan and Nicole and their whole phenomenal team. It's the first weekend in April in Bend, and you can get all the information and register at WB, which stands for Wisdom Builders, springretreat.com. And you get 3 days with a fabulous community and learn and grow. So what we're going to do now, we're going to switch to, let's thank Josh one more time. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to recognize some of the people who are making massive contributions, helping other people's health in our group. And because we're towards the end of our meeting, I'm going to not read the whole list here. But I'm going to read Tammy Kalin did 1,031 because that's Steffi's team. And then Sherry Reef from Hanson's did 1,047. Danica Robson from Hanson's team 1,059. Then Leslie Kyriakos from Steffi's team 1,090. Nancy Reese in Grants Pass 1,317 purchase volume points. Yes. And then Laura Kickbush from Hanson's team 2,005. Brent Chichester 2,229 points. Give Brent a hand. Brent's doing a good job up in Canada. Then Jolene Cox in Portland 2,319. And then Dean Vandenberg in Los Angeles 4,003. Joy Cordell in Seattle 4,127. Jamie and Carol Wilson, the second consecutive month of director, they had a personal record in volume, and they were number 2 on the leaderboard. They made gold medal, number 2 on the leaderboard. Jamie and Carol Wilson with 4,354 points. And we had Gina Ellis in Wisconsin with under Wayne and Leslie 5,002 points. My little brother Victor with 5,034. My dad with 5,411. Number 5 in our team, in the whole team, Barbara Chichester, 6,595. And then we had number 4, some superstars. They were number 6 on the leaderboard. Number 6 in the whole country. They're from Grants Pass, Oregon. Their second month of Sapphire Director Volume, over 11,000 points. Their personal volume, 6,881 personal. John and Debbie. John Chambers, Debbie Muzak in number 4. And number 3 in our team for personal volume, Wayne and Leslie with 8,824. Wayne and Les were number 1 in world team in the whole nation 2 years ago. Last year, they were in the top 10 again. Then in the number 2 position, can I read your volume or do you not want me to? It's okay. Okay, Steffi did 10,000. Give Steffi a hand. We're so blessed. Josh saved Steffi. He kept her in with us a little bit longer. So she did 10,000 last month, which is very normal for her. And then in the number 1 position for personal volume, just a most amazing man. This guy has too much talent. He has talent to burn. Mr. Daniel Hansen with 15,375. Daniel's car allowance alone, $800. Just for car allowance. That guy has too much talent, I'm telling you, but it's exciting. Now for group volume, John and Debbie were in the number 4th position in our team for 11,235. Number 3, Victor Pearson, 25,639. And Wayne and Leslie Hansen, number 2 position, 29,201 points. They're a great team, a great team. And then in number 1 position, Robert L. Pearson, 60,251 points. Okay, we're gonna have one announcement from the BOC. Nancy's gonna read a thing about the challenge, and then I'm gonna hand it over to Wayne to tell about a promotion we have to help you get people to convention at a cheaper than normal rate. So Nancy, are you ready to read that about the challenge?
Well, not quite, Bob. I've got to get a little shake break here first.
Okay. And then Wayne,
My chocolate shake, and I added banana and peanut butter.
awesome.
Delicious.
Nancy,
Okay.
you're a senior manager, by the way, you guys. Oh, about 1,400, real close to 1,400.
Praise God.
Yes.
New year, new you. Join the Be Your Best Challenge. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, very well.
The first quarter of the year is the best time to invite everyone you know to join you in the Be Your Best Challenge. Together, it is more fun. How would it feel to be the 2020 Challenge champion, or better yet, to be one who inspired and encouraged that next challenge champion? It starts, though, with joining the 30-day and then moving on to the 90-day challenge before you're eligible to compete for the challenge champion. Never underestimate the power you have to impact and transform lives. Don't forget that everyone who competes the 30-day challenge will receive a cool t-shirt, and the 90-day challenge winners will receive the following. $2,000 prize package includes $500 in cash, $500 in NeoLife gear, $1,000 in NeoLife products, exclusive media package for For more information or to enroll in the challenge, go to www.neolifeblog.com/challenge. And there you have it.
Thank you very, very much, Nancy. And the challenge winners are always one of the most exciting parts at convention, I'll tell you that. So now I'm going to hand it over to Wayne, and he's going to tell about a profit sharing pool, so to speak, for our convention incentive. And then we'll have one more incentive after that.
Wow, we heard some wonderful testimonies this morning and heard many reasons why we should go to retreats and conventions. And we expect that all of you will be there. But we cannot end this trend by ourselves. We need help. We know that you can help, but we know we need more help. And so if you're part of the Pearson team, this applies to you, and I know that you'll want to know about it. We're making some money available. You see that figure? You can be a part of that, and here's how it works. You invite 3 people. You have to be 17 years of age and older. I'm going to try to sum this up in a nutshell. And you get into the profit sharing program here with 1 entry. Okay, if
First time, 3 first times.
that's right. We have actually 2 profit sharing pools. Okay, so they have to be first time attendees. In other words, they've never been to the convention before. And when you get 3, you get into your name into the profit sharing pool. It's $1,000. If you're the only one in there, you get that whole $1,000. If you're sharing that with 4 people, you're going to come home with $250 paid at the convention. And there's a second one, however, so hang on, there's more. The second pool is also $1,000. If instead of getting those 3, you move on and get 5 first-time attendees, your name goes into the second $1,000. You're out of the first one now. You're into the second one. Maybe there won't be so many people in the second one. You might grab that whole $1,000. If there's 2 people in there, you share it with them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's the opportunity for some good money. Okay. If you get more than that, let's say you have your 5 and you get 8. So there's 3 more. Now you've got to share in the first profit sharing pool as well as the second. So our objective here is to help Bob and the Pearson team to reach that challenge of 100 people at convention. And so if you're part of the Pearson team, this not only applies to you, but everyone down line from you can be a part of this and take advantage of these profit sharing pools. Okay, and there'll be an email that'll go out to describe this more in detail for you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
wasn't that great?
Yeah. Thank you, Wayne. So if Stephanie is the only one, she is, like I said, she's a shaker and a mover. If she's the only one that has 5 first-timers, she gets all 1,000.
Don't let her do it. You get in
For the
there.
second year. But I know Daniel's quite a competitor too. So if it's only Daniel and Steph, they get $500 each. Okay. So anyway, we'll send you guys out so they can both go to McDonald's at that hour. Or Starbucks. And so we'll send you out a email with the details on that. Here's the second incentive, and then we'll have Daniel close our meeting down. at the end. Jamie, I'm sorry. We'll maybe have you cover the stuff I gave to you next time.
Okay.
But the second incentive, you guys, by the next BOC, which we're working on a gangbuster one like this one, let's give Josh and Amanda and Mark and Sylvia another hand. And Stephanie. We're working on another really good one for the first Saturday in February. But by that time, the registration for convention is going to jump up a little bit. And so, wait, can I have that there? Thank you. Thank you. So if your guests register for convention by next Tuesday night, and the way they can verify that is they can just email a copy of their registration to me, bobapearson@gmail.com, and they got to register. They have to email that to me by Tuesday night. They can save $120 from the convention price at the door. But if they do it by Tuesday night register, they'll actually save $150, because in addition to the $20, see, on February 1st, it's going to bump up $20, the registration fee from where it is right now. But Wayne and I and Leslie, we're doing an incentive that you'll get another $30 rebate at convention if you have your registration sent into us by Tuesday night. Now,
Yeah, this next Tuesday.
yeah, next Tuesday night, as long as you register before January 31st, you can pay the current registration price, which you can find at neolifeconvention.com. All the details, the hotel, everything, pricing is at neolifeconvention.com. But on February 1st, it jumps up $20. So if you have your registration sent to us by Tuesday night, January 7th, you'll save not only the $20 from the bump in convention price, but you'll save 30 more, which you'll get in a rebate at convention. Is that right, Wayne? Okay, so that's just another thing to save all your attendees $50 off their registration if you act quick.
Yep, jump on it.
Yeah, jump on that. Okay, so to close out our meeting, we have the man with talent to burn, the one who is #1 for our personal volume, Daniel Hansen, and we'll give it over to Daniel, and he'll land this airplane for us. So let's give Daniel a big hand.
Turn this here.
It's just right.
All right, I'm going to go through these kind of quickly just because we're out of time. But the challenge for this coming month, there's 3 different things here. So number 1 is identify 3 limiting beliefs in your life and exchange it for 3 empowering beliefs that will serve you. So swapping those limiting beliefs for the empowering ones, it's always good. Number 2, write down a paragraph of what the end of 2020 will look like when you achieve your best year ever. What would it look like? What would it feel like? It's always good to think on and then, work to achieve that. And number 3, what is one thing you can do right away to get 2020 off to a great start? All right, here's a hint. Work harder than ever to get people to rally, and then watch your guests and even your team get more excited than ever to have found a vehicle to achieve their health and financial goals in 2020. Let's make it an awesome month as we exchange limiting beliefs for empowering beliefs. And here's a motivational quote. Don't limit yourself to the skies when there's a whole galaxy out there. And that's from Bianca Fraser. Okay, normally we close with a goal, but there's quite a few of us on here. So instead of everyone speaking the goals just for time this month, just think about them, write them down if you'd like to, but just what you'd like to achieve in the next month. What is your business goal for the month? And then how many people will you have at rally? And of course, you can invite people from everywhere because we all know there's 3 rallies, LA, Atlanta, and up in Toronto. So 3 different opportunities to get people to rally. And then number 3, which Achiever Club, 5, 10, or 15, are you intentionally striving for this month? and which achiever medal, gold, silver, or bronze, are you committed to earning this quarter? So just think about those goals, write them down, work to achieve them this month. And yeah, we look forward to seeing everyone's exciting results when we meet next month.
Thanks for being with us. Thank you, Josh, for helping us out and all your phenomenal input. And we'll see all of you. Okay, the first Saturday of February, we'll have another phenomenal, extraordinary lineup. And let's all work on getting our registrations in and building momentum to help end the trend, because we need a lot, like Wayne said, we need a lot of people to help us because the need is so huge. And Mark and Sylvia said it's just something we want to share with people, and so did Amanda, because it helps them. So how do we do this picture?
Can they stay on for the photo?
Can you guys stay on for the photo? We're going to take a quick photo. And
those that don't have picture
how do
showing,
we do this?
so
We all get in
they
front of
want
the
to.
screen? Is that what we do?
That's right. We'll let you know before we take it, so you all can smile.
Thank you, Josh.
Crowd in.
I'm going to just stop our video here for a second because we're going to stand in front of it.